right, what's up? It's me, Absa, none other. And I've had the weirdest dreams today. They kind of correlate with each other, so I remember them. I remember the dreams, so I'm going to talk about them while I just woke up. It's still fresh in my mind. It's still very vivid and very strange. So, what's up, Carlos? So, I had this dream earlier today that kind of turned into a nightmare. I kind of woke up with a fast, racing heart, and I could tell my blood pressure was high, and I was afraid. So in this dream, I was just a person, just a regular person here on Earth, and there was this weird woman that I met, and key factor in this is that she was a woman, and she had red hair, and this chick was a mermaid. I was calling this chick Ariel. This looked just like the cartoon, the Ariel mermaid. Okay, this chick was a mermaid in the dream. What's up, Pocket Noodles? So it starts out with me, and we're in the rain, we're in some city, and I'm walking away from her like really mean, and she's just like crying, telling me she loves me and stuff before she jumps in the water, and I think she's gone for it. Then I find out she's dead, right? And there's this talking cat, and this cat's like, we can bring this girl back to life, but I'm going to need her body here. You know, how long she's been decomposing? I'm like, 13 hours. I remember the number 13. And so I got a couple of friends, and they actually helped me dig her body out of the grave. So I took her coffin and stuff, and I took it to a morgue, and I'm like, dude, fix this coffin up as best you can. And then I took it back to my room, and they had these TVs in there, and they had this one TV that was static, that had metal on top of it. Hey, what's up, Carrie? And they were like, you know, this is going to get scary, but you can't run. And I was like, alright, I won't run. So, then I heard this rough man's voice, like it was a man trying to get through to talk to me, but he couldn't come through as a man. He had to come through as a woman to not scare me to death. So, then I heard Ariel again, and I'm like, hey, that's my baby, you know, and I'm just like, and she's like, oh, hey, she's just so calm. She's bewilderingly calm. It's so strange. It's scary. It's eerie. It's like one of those calms where, like, you know, it's not like the reunion of a couple. It's so weird. So I got really calm, and I looked at this TV as I watched it. And I'm just like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm just kind of bored. There's nothing green here. There's nothing vivid or pretty here. So I'm like, do you want to come back over here? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, alright, well, I'm going to try to bring you back. And then I had a dream before that. What? Carlos has a mod. He's not in here under his modded account. So I had a dream. So I woke up then, because I saw this chick coming back to life. She had all this light coming through her. And, you know, it was her decomposing body that came back to life. It was great when it was done, but while it was happening, it scared the shit out of me. She rose up out of her coffin and shit. It was weird. So, I had a dream before that where I didn't understand it, where this redheaded woman had come up out of a coffin, and all I could see was like light coming through a corpse, and it wasn't as scary because it was like an animated cartoon of Ariel. It wasn't. So, then I went back to bed, and we were living on this beach. She came back to life. And I'm like, let's go live at the beach, because, you know, I had some kind of power at this point, but, yeah, it was like an ocean power. It was an ocean power I took, even though I didn't really like the heat, to be able to go underwater and breathe. So that was something I wanted to do. And that was great and everything, until I noticed this ocean's weather and its people got into a lot of trouble all the time. And one day, this tall, brown-haired man came. He was very muscular. He was like, he had like this golden aura around him, and he made the sun come out. And I had powers to make it rain and make it storm, but I couldn't make the sun come out without him there. And somehow I got really close to him and the people, and Ariel kind of stayed in the water more, and I was going in the water more like by myself, and it was dark under there. It was dark, and I don't know if she was happy or not, but she kept telling me this guy these other girls was calling this guy daddy, and she didn't like it. And I was like, oh, well, what? I was like, what? And then she was like, I'm calling this guy. I'm like, why do you care, And she's like, oh, I do. I don't care. And I'm like, all right, Ariel, god damn it. And then, this guy, I don't know, there's like a leader that's a woman that's like a lifeguard over the beach, and she's like, he has the ability to identify problems before they arise, and you don't, Abby, but you have the ability to fix them. And I'm like, yeah. And then, I'm kind of pissed off about my girlfriend, and then, she comes over there, and she's like, I'm like, I want to get around quicker. I want to get around as quick as he does. And she's like, oh, well, I'll just give you some wings and I won't give you the other powers. That's already his. And I'm like, all right. So then I'm like wearing khakis and a white t-shirt, and I'm like kind of glowing, and I have these big old white wings. And I'm able to get to places and able to hear his voice when he says, there's somebody that's going to get in a fight over here. It's going to come, and it's going to result in this if you don't stop it. So I'm like, okay. And I'm like going around helping all the citizens. He's bringing the sun all the time. This guy likes the sun. I don't like the sun. So it would start raining sometimes, and then I'd try to use my powers to bring out the sun. He wouldn't be on the beach, and I'd be pissed. I couldn't do it without this guy. So we kind of relied on each other to do these things, and we were friends and stuff, and we worked really well together, even though we were very opposite. And this dude came over, and he started talking to me. He's like, especially when I got the wings, he's like, oh, wow, you're really, pretty now. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I was blonde out on this beach, and I'm just kind of like really stiff still over Ariel, saying that about him, right? So I looked at him, and I'm like, this guy's like falling in love with me. So I'm like, okay. And he's like, I feel like you and I are meant to do some bigger power, but I can't without you. And I'm like, okay. And, instead of like falling in love with this guy and building him up and, going around and doing everything, helping those retarded people, and every time they'd cry, the fucking clouds would overcast the beach, and Ariel's staying in the water all the time now. I became really jealous of this man, and I became like an enemy of the water. I was like, every time I lost the wings, and there was this nasty, like, I wasn't high at all. I was very sober, and I was asleep. And then there was this grayness that overcame me, and I was very mean. Every time I'd come out, there'd be like, I'd pour rain just to make it pour rain. And I would watch these people as they would scatter, and I'd just kind of laugh and watch them. I wouldn't talk to them. They wouldn't see me there. Sometimes I would go out just to be seen on that beach. Just so you know that I'm coming to this beach to make it rain, motherfucker. And this motherfucker would come out and give me a dirty look and make it, like, not rain, make the sun come out. And he would, like, come over, he was over the beach, obviously. This dude was solving the problems when they arose, even though he could see them before, and sometimes he'd sit there for like an hour or two, but when I was helping, he could sit there and he could see them before like a minute or two. So that was his powers. He could change the weather without me, and he could solve the problems, just not as quickly. And I became extremely jealous of how I couldn't bring out the sun without him there. And I didn't like the sun anyway. So I'm, making it rain. And nobody wants it to rain on a beach. And I'm just like, now it's nice and dark, just like underneath that water. Underneath that water is Ariel, my woman, and I can't be under that water all the time. I'm like this, I was like this angel meant to help this dude, and he's like, and I became extremely jealous of his ability, and lost the wings one day when I came out. Instead of a nice blonde, white, halo looking effect, it was almost a gray looking effect. I became like a monster. And I went out, and my sole purpose, it almost became like an obsession, was to make this guy's life a living hell. I want to make your life a living fucking hell. So every day I'm going to come out, I'm going to make my presence known, and then I'm going to fuck up your beach. And I'm going to make it rain, and I'm going to make it thunderstorm and hell and everything else I can think of. And you can come out and try to get the sun. So then I started competing with this dude, right? He comes out, he looks at me, he smirks, he shakes his head, because this dude still loves me. And he's like, and I'm just like not feeling the same. So I'm making it hell really hard on like this one guy's tent. And he comes over and he's like, no, and he tries to bring it, and I'm like, no, you move. I'm like, I'm making it hell over here. And then this dude beat my ass, I mean, this dude beat my ass. And then I got really angry, and I really came at his beach harder then. Except I was more out of sight at this point. I was more, you never know where the weather was coming from. You didn't know if it was natural or if it was me. And this dude became so paranoid that he made it sunshine so hard that nobody wanted to be on this beach no more. It was just like a cat and mouse kind of. It was so strange. And then one day I remember I got wings again at the end, and I just flew up in the air as it was raining, and then I flew down into the water as like hard as I could, and I found Ariel in this little ship, and she was just in this little wrecked ship, and I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm just in here. And I'm just like, well, she's like, you up there playing with so-and-so? I'm like, I'm not playing with this motherfucker, and she's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. But she didn't believe me. Ariel the mermaid, yes, Ariel the mermaid was my old lady. So, that's pretty much my story, and, man, imagine dreaming this, and it's so vivid, and it's like a real movie, it's like a real plot and everything, oh man, it was weird. All I know is I didn't like the sun, and I liked it a few, because nobody wants to go to the beach without the sun, and, I didn't like my ability to not be able to bring the sun when people would ask me to without this dude. And I enjoyed helping people, but I didn't enjoy helping people after, it was just strange. It was a very strange. And then my old lady was depressed in the water. She was in that gray-ass beach all the time. We were both white. Me and him were both very white. And as I hated this dude, and I grew very jealous of his physical strength and his abilities and things, I didn't take the time to really appreciate that, hey, this person really likes me and they appreciate what I do, and I work very well with them, and maybe they're right. If I do get along with them better, maybe we can create some kind of bigger power to where we both control weather or something. But I just became really sensitive and jealous around this dude. So And he was all tan and stuff, and, I was more like ghostly white. And my aura was ghostly white. It was strange. I had like this weird, almost like a halo around my whole body when I got these wings. And so did he. He had this, but his was darker and tanner, and he had a darker, it was strange. Like a golden white. Yeah, and he would walk these beaches, and I'd have to look at this dude all day. As I'd be helping these people, I'd be like cooking out. And instead of watching Ariel run across this beach with her beautiful red hair, it was this fucking weirdo. This weirdo that stood out, that nobody needed, that I could do your job without you, and it'd be a decent weather pattern, more, but he could do the job without me too. So it was just strange, especially since I had the wings now. I got the wings to get across the beach faster. I was a freaking unstoppable force. I mean, I was helpful though, and I was kind, and at first I did love this guy. At first I think I was falling for him until I heard my old lady say, I don't like other people calling him daddy on the surface, and I was like, fucking wait, I was like, wait, I'm daddy, but it was strange. It was just, oh man, it was so vivid as I'm telling you this beach and these people. And then it got so bad there towards the end because I started competing with this person, and he couldn't just knock me down. I mean, if I was showing these powers at the same time, he couldn't. It was an influence. It was an influence over this whole beach that he ran, that he had been running since he was a kid. And I was just like, I'm coming to take over this beach. This is my beach now. My beach now, bitch. And, I'm just going to make it rain on this beach. So there you go. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. Bye, guys.